What if nearly every mistake that kills attraction could have been avoided? Most guys believe being agreeable, attentive, and pleasant is the way to win with women. They operate on a logic of effort and politeness. But real, instinctive attraction works on a completely different level. It doesn't respond to negotiation or reason. Her deepest instincts are wired to recognize something else entirely. Ancient thinkers grasped this. They saw the unspoken rules of magnetism that many men miss. A woman's instinct is selective. It is drawn to signals of capability, calm, and solidity. She naturally tunes out grand claims and pays attention to what is demonstrated. She prioritizes actual strength, the ability to provide direction, security, and remain centered. Attraction isn't something you perform for. It's something you are recognized for. The modern era is pouring out affection, attention, and effort while your entire energy signals a lack. You try to validate yourself, become constantly accessible, or bend to every preference. This is the wrong path. Women aren't ultimately choosing the nicest man. They are drawn to man whose energy is grounded, valuable, and immovable. Kindness without a backbone is not strength. It's permission to be ignored. Compassion without self-possession is fragility. Always being available doesn't prove love. It broadcasts need. When you truly see this, you stop chasing validation. You begin constructing a genuine presence. Desire isn't a reward for being pleasant. It's sparked by being perceived. The man who displays skill, emotional steadiness, and rarity triggers an instinctive pull automatically. Attraction isn't a conscious choice for gentleness. It's a subconscious read of substance and capability. Why does being excessively good backfire? Many men think that acting kindly, helpfully, and politely will make women feel drawn to them. They assume that being caring, considerate, and always aiming to please will get them noticed and loved. This is a fundamental misunderstanding. Attraction isn't about winning a popularity contest. Centuries ago, philosophers explained that women are naturally pulled toward men who exhibit true ability, assurance, and substance. It isn't the man who laughs the loudest or offers the sweetest compliments who stands out. It's the man who stays anchored, poised, and consistent regardless of the situation. Being too agreeable can actually diminish attraction. When a man gives endlessly without any lines in the sand, he erases the very tension that creates a magnetic pull. Desire isn't manufactured by comfort or perpetual presence. It comes from the perception that a man possesses worth, autonomy, and command. If you're always saying yes, always working to please, or always on call, her instinct interprets this as dependency. She might appreciate you, feel comfortable with you, but she won't feel that undeniable intrigue that leads to real interest. Unlimited agreeability can seem pliable, and constant accessibility makes a man common and expected. Familiarity extinguishes spark. Women respond more to motion than to speech. They observe men who make choices, own outcomes, and keep their composure when tested. Emotional mastery is perhaps the most compelling trait a man can offer. If a man gets rattled, worried, or easily provoked, she reads it as lower value. Conversely, a man who remains confident and stable even when challenged communicates safety, reliability, and power, qualities that instinctively stir desire. Simply put, women are attracted to evidence, not pledges. They watch what you do far more than they listen to what you say. A man who establishes limits, carries himself with certainty, and blends firmness with decency is infinitely more compelling than a man who just talks, justifies excessively, or gives without restraint. The agreeable man who wants to be liked might earn fondness, but he rarely ignites true longing. To build lasting attraction, you must show capability, self-reliance, and inner command, not just amiability or validation seeking, but authority in your very being. Attraction isn't constructed on your vocabulary. It's built on your demonstration. Women don't fall for witty dialogue or endless justifications. They react to instinct. Their neurology is set to detect strength, stability, and confidence before their conscious mind engages. Smiling excessively, talking too much, or over-explaining can actually make you appear hungry for approval or unsure. Even if you intend to be engaging, these signals quietly drain attraction. What really counts is tranquility, command, and self-containment. A man who can stay composed under stress, who doesn't let feelings run his behavior, shows resilience and trustworthiness. Women sense this intuitively. Your stance, your vibe, and how you move communicate more than any sentence. Presence broadcasts value before you utter a word. Philosophers long ago noted that the most compelling men are those who govern themselves. A man who steadies his emotions, stays calm, and acts with intention draws people in naturally. Women are pulled toward action and poise, not toward pledges or discussions of strength. Command and assurance demonstrated through behavior are far more appealing than explanations or attempts to dazzle. Stop performing for attention. Stop rationalizing to be accepted. Every justification, every attempt to prove your worth actually diminishes it. Instead, focus on being the type of man whose mere presence is sufficient. Stand tall, hold calm eye contact, and project confidence through your vibe and actions. Speak when it matters, and allow your quiet to speak volumes. Presence communicates your value more effectively than language ever can. Composure signals capability. Silence signals command. A steady, collected man who doesn't react to every little thing is seen as unshakable. This is what distinguishes the man who blends into the crowd from the man who is recalled, regarded, and profoundly wanted. How women gauge your worth. Whenever a woman playfully needles you, questions you, or seems reserved, it's typically not about you. These instances aren't rejections. They are assessments. Her mind is engineered to measure a man's value on an instinctive level. For millennia, women needed to rapidly identify men who could offer stability, make clear decisions, and stay calm when tested. When she assesses you, she's verifying if your behavior aligns with your core. If you are stable, self-assured, and in charge, or if you are nervous, reactive, or easily influenced. Most men stumble into the same error. They see these tests as disapproval or direct insult. They feel compelled to explain themselves, defend their actions, or demonstrate their value. The issue is that every explanation, every defense, every try to persuade her conveys insecurity. Reacting emotionally signals that you are not in charge of your own mind or energy, which is one of the most vital traits her instinct looks for in a partner. A wise thinker would call this the gap between appearing strong and actually being strong. A man who reacts to every remark or circumstance surrenders his power. A man who watches calmly, remains collected, and replies thoughtfully shows authentic control. When a woman senses that nothing can destabilize you, no test, no prodding, no pressure, her desire intensifies. She instinctively recognizes stability, competence, and emotional command. These qualities are vastly more attractive than words, promises, or attempts to impress. Passing her assessments isn't about clever retorts or perfectly timed answers. It's about managing your own energy and conduct. Calm movements, deliberate actions, and steady expressions convey more than any explanation ever could. A controlled look signals confidence. A poised posture signals security. A slow, intentional voice signals authority. These subtle cues are the language your instincts understand, and they generate attraction automatically. Tests appear in many forms. They could be light teasing, seemingly aloof behavior, indirect remarks, or slight contradictions in what she says. She might ask things to see how decisively you move, or introduce minor challenges to measure your response. Each test is a chance to show that you are centered, self-reliant, and capable of handling life without losing your footing. The man who stays calm, composed, and unshakable communicates that his value isn't contingent on approval, which is irresistibly compelling. It's key to remember her tests aren't meant to harm you or create distance. They are her method of determining if you are someone she can trust, depend on, and invest in. If she detects genuine stability and emotional fortitude, her desire will rise naturally. Desire grows from perception of value, not from comfort, attention, or charm. Over time, consistent calm and measured responses build fascination and attraction far more effectively than gifts, words, or over-explaining ever could. When you respond to her test with calm observation, you aren't being detached or cold. You are showing that your value is constant. You are demonstrating that you are a man with self-command, leadership, and stability. The traits or instincts have been programmed to prioritize for generations. Desire isn't something she gives. You activate it by showing that you are steady, strong, and reliable. Every time you maintain control, resist reacting impulsively, and stay composed, you reinforce the idea that your worth is independent of her moods or opinions. Silence, a steady expression, and thoughtful replies are worth far more than 10 explanations. This is the behavior that makes a man magnetic, respected, and naturally desired. Women instinctively recognize it, and with time, their attraction deepens. Understanding this changes everything. Tests are not barriers. They are openings. Each test she offers is a chance to prove your consistency, self-control, and inner strength. A man who masters his presence, energy, and reactions doesn't just pass these tests. He transforms them into signals that amplify desire, respect, and fascination. This is the true key to becoming unforgettable. Independence, intrigue, and a driving purpose. One of the strongest secrets of attraction is autonomy. A man who has his own life, aims, and passions becomes instinctively magnetic to women. She notices not just how you act around her, but the life you build when she's not there. If a man is always free, constantly waiting for her attention or focused solely on being liked, he loses substance in her view. Being predictable makes him fade from memory. Conversely, when a man has direction, purpose, and his own priorities, he becomes scarce and interesting. Scarcity and independence automatically heighten attraction. A man who is continually evolving, creating his own world, and chasing his objective signals that he is distinctive and substantial. Women are drawn to men who have forward momentum in life. Men who aren't relying on external validation, praise, or approval. When she realizes that your time, attention, and presence are deliberate choices rather than desperate needs, desire starts to awaken. She feels a tension that pulls her toward you. A curiosity about a man who is independent, strong, and anchored. Attraction follows men who forge their own trail, not those who merely exist to be admired. Ancient wisdom understood this principle. Real power isn't about controlling others. It stems from mastery over yourself. A man who governs his emotions, his time, and his energy exhibits true strength. This type of command communicates confidence, security, and authority. Women instinctively identify men who handle life with calm and make decisions deliberately, even under duress. That instinctive recognition triggers attraction because it signals competence and reliability. Mystery plays a vital role here. A man who discloses everything about himself too fast, who overshares or acts in expected ways, loses attention that fuels desire. Women are drawn to men who can't be entirely figured out, whose actions and intentions carry a subtle layer of unpredictability. Mystery communicates independence and self-possession. It shows that a man isn't defined by her approval, yet he can choose to let her into his world. That choice, rather than a frantic effort to impress, creates genuine desire. A man who merges purpose, independence, and mystery generates an energy women instinctively detect. He is focused on something larger than being wanted. He invests in his life, his ventures, and his own growth first. When she sees this, attraction arises naturally. Desire comes from recognizing that he is rare, self-sufficient, and capable of navigating life with control and confidence. Women are particularly attracted to men who could be formidable, in the sense of being capable, assured, or unrestrained, but who elect restraint, calmness, and measured action. This combination of strength with control, power with choice, is deeply magnetic. It signals that he can lead, protect, and command respect, but does so wisely and on purpose. Her instinct responds to this balance of autonomy, authority, and unpredictability. In simple terms, a man with independence, mystery, and purpose doesn't chase approval or lean on validation. He creates his own life, remains rooted in himself, and allows attraction to develop organically. His presence, actions, and lifestyle send signals of worth far stronger than words ever could. When a woman sees that he is independent, purposeful, and rare, desire naturally follows. The power of balanced energy. Attraction isn't straightforward. It's created by tension, and tension comes from equilibrium. A man becomes magnetic when he can balance decency with fortitude, warmth with authority. Too much kindness without boundaries can make a man seem soft, predictable, or easy to overlook. Women may like him, respect him, but desire is seldom ignited. On the other hand, too much intensity without kindness can make a man seem harsh, intimidating, or remote. Neither extreme creates lasting attraction. The secret is balance. The ability to be strong yet considerate, Confident yet accessible. A man who masters his balance is gentle but firm, caring but scarce. He is consistent enough to feel safe yet intriguing enough to feel stimulating. He sets limits and lives with intent. He controls his emotions, his actions, and his energy. But he doesn't withhold completely, nor does he give everything all at once. He knows how to show attention, generosity, and care in a way that builds tension and desire rather than reducing it. Women instinctively notice this energy. It communicates stability, competence, and value without a single word. True influence doesn't come from dominating others. It comes from mastering yourself. A man who controls his impulses and stays calm under pressure radiates power and presence. Women instinctively respond to this balance. They are drawn to men who are strong yet restrained, kind yet definite, confident yet enigmatic. This combination is magnetic because it signals the qualities women have been wired to value for thousands of years: strength, control, reliability, and rarity. Balanced energy makes a man unforgettable. He becomes a reference point, a man who stands apart in her mind. The agreeable guy who is always giving, always accommodating, or constantly seeking validation is often forgotten. He blends into the background because he creates no tension, no excitement, and no mystery. The man who balances kindness with power leaves a lasting imprint. His energy, choices, and calm presence naturally draw attention, respect, and desire. In plain language, attraction isn't about being the nicest man in the room, nor the most dominant. It's about walking the line between warmth and strength, care and authority, approachability and command. It's about showing empathy while maintaining boundaries, demonstrating power while remaining calm and steady. This balance is subtle, but it's what separates ordinary men from the men women remember and want. When you understand this, your behavior shifts. You stop over-explaining or overcompensating with words and gestures. You stop trying too hard to impress. Instead, your presence does the work. Women notice your energy, your boundaries, and your calm confidence. Desire grows naturally around men who embody balanced energy. This balance isn't a trick or a tactic. It's a way of existing. And it's this way of existing that creates real, lasting attraction. Here's the real truth about attraction. A woman's desire isn't about romance, flattery, or sweet talk. It's instinctive. It's biological. A woman's mind continuously evaluates a man based on signals of strength, stability, and self-command. Love doesn't come first. Desire doesn't begin with affection. These feelings emerge only after her instinct acknowledges real substance. When she senses that a man is rare, confident, and steady under pressure, desire naturally awakens. Love follows later, once her instinct accepts that he is worthwhile. A man who understands this stops seeking approval. He stops trying to please, explain, or prove himself. Instead, he steps into his own life and energy. He becomes the center of his own world, living with purpose and direction. He speaks when necessary, acts when it matters, and allows his presence to communicate what words cannot. Calmness, control, and intentional action become his instruments. A steady gaze, controlled gestures, and purposeful movements speak more powerfully than any conversation ever could. Presence before words, scarcity before attention, mystery before explanation. These aren't empty phrases. They are real principles of attraction. Presence communicates confidence and stability. Scarcity communicates value and independence. Mystery communicates rarity and intrigue. When these three combine, they create a tension her instinct cannot ignore. The man who lives by these principles doesn't ask to be noticed. He is noticed naturally. He doesn't depend on being needed. He becomes inherently desirable without effort. True influence and attraction come from mastery over oneself, not control over others. A man who governs his emotions, decisions, and purpose projects real power. This kind of power can't be faked. It signals competence, independence, and consistency, the qualities women have sought throughout history. Instinctively, they are drawn to men who carry these traits without overthinking, judging, or rationalizing. Desire activates automatically when these signals are present. Attraction isn't earned by effort, gifts, or endless kindness. It's awakened by the demonstration of value, self-sufficiency, and calm authority. The man who understands this no longer chases. He doesn't perform to impress. He lives, acts, and grows continuously. In doing so, He becomes inevitable. His presence pulls attention, respect, and desire naturally. He isn't just remembered, he is wanted. To achieve this, step into your own axis. Build a life full of purpose, independence, and passion. Master your presence and actions. Let your energy and behavior show your value. Understand that female desire is instinctive, not logical. Focus on becoming a man whose worth is obvious, whose control is firm, and whose presence is magnetic. When you live this way, attraction stops being a matter of luck. It becomes a natural result of your way of being. Master yourself. Live with intention. Stay composed under pressure. Be rare. Be unshakable. When you embody these qualities, a woman's instinct notices it immediately. This is a path from being overlooked to becoming unforgettable, from being ignored to being desired. If you're ready to truly understand what creates lasting attraction and master these principles, it's time to act. Check the link in the description or pinned comment to learn more. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to Winds of Thought, and hit the bell to join a community of men learning to become confident, valuable, and unforgettable. Stop chasing approval. Start commanding real attraction today.